Well, good morning, everyone. Bon matin, tout le monde. It is so great to be here in Mississauga, so close to where I spent my summers at my grandparents' house. My parents grew up just on Cawthra Road, right by Port Credit Go station. Taking these very buses to catch a Jays game or visiting relatives all over the GTA or spending the day at the X. Now, Justin Trudeau has spent the last 4 years of your life making life more expensive. He said he would help the middle class. Instead, he's raised taxes on 80% of middle class Canadians. He said he would balance the budget. He said he racked up huge debt and deficits that will threaten our social programs. He said he would help you. Instead, he got rid of important tax credits, including the public transit tax credit, increasing the cost of taking the bus or train to work every day. He made it more expensive to live your life the way you want to live it. Justin Trudeau a dit qu'il vous aiderait, mais il a éliminé d'importants crédits d'impôt, dont le crédit d'impôt pour le transport en commun. Et ça coûte maintenant plus cher de prendre l'autobus ou le train pour aller travailler tous les jours. À cause de Justin Trudeau, il vous en coûte plus cher pour vous déplacer en utilisant les transports en commun. For so many Canadians, public transit is the only way to get from point A to B. And transit costs can be a significant out-of-pocket expense. Canadian families, students, young professionals, and seniors use public transit the most, and they know the cost. So I'm so excited to be here today, standing here, to provide much-needed relief to transit users, commuters, and families in Canada. As Prime Minister, I will introduce the Green Public Transit Tax Credit to reduce the cost of public transit and make sure that you can keep more of your hard-earned money. Comme Premier Ministre, je mettrai en place le crédit d'impôt pour le transport en commun vert. Ce crédit d'impôt va réduire le coût de transport en commun et assurer qu'il vous reste plus d'argent dans vos poches. Growing up, my sisters and I took public transit almost everywhere. We lived in Ottawa, and taking the bus was the only way for us to get to our first jobs, to school, and back home. I even had to take the bus on dates, which is not the easiest way to convince someone to go to the movies with you. The Green Public Transit Tax Credit will help all Canadians who rely on buses, trains, subways, and other modes of public transit. A family of 4 each taking the TTC here in the Greater Toronto Area regularly would save almost $1,000 a year. That's $1,000 back in your pocket. While a young professional regularly commuting on GO Transit from Oshawa to downtown Toronto would save around $650 a year. Le crédit d'impôt pour le transport en commun vert va aider tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes qui utilisent l'autobus, le train, le métro, les traversiers et les autres modes de transport en commun. Une famille de 4 personnes qui utilisent régulièrement le TTC ici dans la grande région de Toronto va économiser près de $1,000 par année. By encouraging Canadians to use public transit, we also reduce greenhouse gas emissions here at home. And that's why the Green Public Transit Tax Credit is an important part of our real plan to protect the environment, which I announced earlier this year. A plan that strikes a balance between reducing emissions to fight climate change while keeping our core promise to leave more money in your pockets so you can get ahead. There are so many young families, parents, and retirees who are under pressure and worried about the future. They're doing everything right. They're working hard, but they're just not getting ahead. There are bills, payments, loans, mortgages, and debt, and it all adds up. I believe it's our job, Canada's Conservatives, to help you get ahead. This election, more than ever, Canadians are looking to candidates, to leaders, to parties for help. They are looking for a plan that they can trust, a plan to relieve that pressure. My plan is focused on you. And the Green Public Transit Tax Credit is the kind of money-saving measure that Canadians can expect from a new Conservative government this fall. I have so much sympathy watching Canadians struggle to live within their means while paying taxes to a government that refuses to live within theirs. A government that has overspent and under-delivered for all Canadians. It's not right and it's not fair. Mon plan est axé sur vous. Et le crédit d'impôt pour le transport en commun vert est le genre de mesure que les Canadiens et les Canadiennes peuvent s'attendre de nouveaux gouvernements conservateurs. J'en ai assez de voir les Canadiens et les Canadiennes lutter pour vivre selon leurs moyens et payer des impôts à un gouvernement qui refuse de faire la même chose. Un gouvernement qui dépense trop et qui ne permet pas aux Canadiens d'améliorer leur gouvernement. Comme je l'ai déjà dit, mon engagement est clair. Avec un gouvernement conservateur, c'est plus pour vous dès maintenant. If Justin Trudeau is re-elected, we know that he will increase the carbon tax, costing you hundreds of dollars more every year. While my plan will lower the cost of taking transit, Trudeau's pending carbon tax hike will raise it. And when Justin Trudeau eliminated the public transit tax credit, he hit the wallets of 1.8 million Canadians across the country. Not just the young professionals starting out in our cities taking subways to work and to home, but the young families commuting to work, trying to get to their kids faster. The seniors on fixed incomes who rely on the bus to get their groceries and to the doctor's office. This is exactly the kind of recklessness Canadians can expect with 4 more years of Trudeau. Poor judgment, higher taxes, more expenses, and less money in your pockets. Le choix à faire aux Canadiens et aux Canadiennes est clair. Justin Trudeau qui augmente les impôts, accumule dettes et déficits et qui fait en sorte que votre vie coûte plus cher. Ou le nouveau gouvernement conservateur qui va réduire vos impôts, vivre selon ses moyens et rendre votre vie plus abordable. That is the choice that Canadians have. A Trudeau government that has raised taxes, wrapped up debt and deficits, and made your life more expensive, or a new conservative government that will live within its means so that we can lower taxes and make your life more affordable. Where Justin Trudeau will increase his carbon tax on hardworking Canadian families, I will scrap it so Canadians aren't punished just for heating their homes and driving to work. Where he will continue to pile up massive deficits and rack up huge debt, I will balance the budget so we can keep funding social programs like healthcare and education. And where he will keep costing you more, I will put more money in your pockets so you can get ahead. That is my positive conservative vision, and that is what I am offering to Canadians on October 21st. Thank you very much. Happy to take your questions.
Bonjour, M. Scheer, Louis Blouin de Radio-Canada. Sur la mesure que vous annoncez aujourd'hui, quand les libéraux l'ont éliminée, ils ont dit qu'il y avait peu de gens qui s'en prévalaient de cette mesure-là. Il y a des études aussi qui montrent que ce n'est pas la meilleure mesure pour encourager les gens à prendre davantage, à utiliser davantage de transport collectif. Est-ce que c'est pas, au fond, plus une mesure symbolique qui est belle sur papier que vous annoncez aujourd'hui?
Mais c'est pas symbolique d'épargner les familles presque 1 000 $ par année. C'est pas une geste symbolique. C'est le vraie assistance pour rendre la vie plus abordable. Et c'est clair que quand on donne les incitatifs pour les gens de choisir le transport en commun au lieu de prendre leur auto, on peut encourager les gens de prendre le transport en commun. Et le président de la TTC ici à Toronto a dit que quand les libéraux ont annulé cet crédit, que ça va avoir un impact négatif sur le niveau des gens qui prennent le transport. Alors, nous sommes très heureux de cette annonce aujourd'hui et je suis sûr que les Canadiens qui prennent le transport en commun vont l'apprécier aussi.
Pour la prochaine question, si vous pouvez répondre en anglais et en français, s'il vous plaît. Hier, vous avez votre candidat de Winnipeg-Nord qui a quitté la course pour des propos discriminatoires. Vous avez votre candidat dans Mississauga, Streetsville, qui a eu des propos contre l'islam. Là, vous avez votre candidat dans Brampton-Nord qui est forcé de s'excuser ce matin pour des commentaires dénigrants envers la communauté LGBTQ. Est-ce que vous avez un problème de vérification de passé de vos candidats, M. Scheer? Et l'autre question, c'est les 2 personnes à qui je viens de faire référence. Est-ce qu'elles ont toujours une place dans votre équipe?
Ah oui, alors premièrement, le candidat à Winnipeg-Nord a caché ses messages de notre parti. Alors on a demandé de lui démissionner et on va avoir un nouveau candidat dans cette circonscription. Ici, dans la grande région de Toronto, les 2 candidats que vous avez mentionnés s'excusaient pour leurs paroles et c'est clair que leur langage était inacceptable et offensif à la communauté LGBT. Alors, je suis content qu'elle s'excusait. Mais si on veut parler de les partis avec les problèmes, le Parti libéral a un problème avec les candidats avec les points de vue antisémitiques. Parce que Justin Trudeau a refusé de condamner son propre candidat à Saint-Léonard-Saint-Michel il y a 2 semaines maintenant, qu'il a refusé de dénoncer les paroles antisémitiques de son propre candidat. Alors, j'ai une question pour M. Trudeau. Pourquoi les gens avec les points de vue anti-juifs pensent qu'il est bienvenu au Parti libéral? So the candidate you mentioned in Winnipeg North has been removed. He clearly kept hidden from the party certain messages that he had posted that were offensive, and the two local candidates that you mentioned here have apologized for their messages, and I accept their apology. I'm glad that they have done that. But if you want to talk about parties that have problems, the Liberal Party has a problem with people who hold anti-Semitic views. It has been many days now that Justin Trudeau has refused to denounce his own former candidate in Saint Michel. He has refused to explain why he was working to keep those anti-Semitic messages hidden from the public and from Canadians. That candidate has said, the former candidate has said, that he was working with party officials at the Liberal Party to keep those views hidden and keep those messages hidden from Canadians. So I'd like to hear from Justin Trudeau why people who hold anti-Semitic views feel that their home is in the Liberal Party of Canada.
Abigail Demon, Global News. Mr. Scheer, in Ontario, is your bigger barrier to success Justin Trudeau or Doug Ford?
The barrier to the success of the people of Ontario is Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau is running the exact same playbook that the Kathleen Wynne Liberals ran here for so many years. Massive deficits, threatening social programs, leading to cuts to services for the people of Ontario. People here in Ontario understand what happens when Liberals are allowed to run deficits, engage in scandalous behavior, and see that debt mount up and the tax hikes that go with it. So I'm confident that on October 21st, the people of Ontario will choose to replace Justin Trudeau's scandal-plagued, tax-hiking, deficit-running government with a Conservative government that will live within its means, put more money back in the pockets of Canadians so that they can get ahead.
Well, Mr. Scheer, we spent the last 2 days in Doug Ford's backyard. Premier Kenny is saying that he plans to campaign for your candidates in the upcoming election. Doug Ford's been nowhere to be seen. We're in his backyard all day today. He's not scheduled to join your campaign at all. What are Ontarians supposed to make of the fact that you don't seem to want him anywhere near your campaign?
That's just completely false. We're going to be all over the province of Ontario, and people who have worked to replace Liberals at the provincial level are obviously going to work to replace Liberals at the federal level. People understand. People in Ontario understand. The very same people who ran Kathleen Wynne and Dalton McGuinty's disastrous government are running Justin Trudeau's government in Ottawa. They are following the same playbook. Permanent deficits, higher taxes, threatening public services, and engaging in scandal and corruption. And I believe that on October 21st, the people of Ontario are going to choose to replace Justin Trudeau's government with a Conservative government that is focused on ensuring that people can get ahead.
Mr. Scheer, Janice Dixon, Globe and Mail. Trudeau keeps saying the Privy Council clerk made the decision not to waive cabinet confidentiality in the SNC case, but legal experts, including Judge Gomery, say he's wrong. What do you make of that in this situation?
Well, it's no surprise that Justin Trudeau would say something that isn't true, because he's been saying things that aren't true from the moment this story broke. Remember, he looked Canadians in the eye and he lied to them. He lied. He said that Jody Wilson-Raybould never came to him with her concerns. We now know that was false. He said he never put pressure on Ms. Wilson-Raybould. We now know that is false. And we know that this excuse is completely bogus. He's hiding behind the clerk of the Privy Council. And I actually think it's shameful to use the public service in this way. An official who is meant to be the head of the nonpartisan civil service to be used in this way is reprehensible on the part of Justin Trudeau. It's quite clear he has the power to do it. Former prime ministers have used their authority to waive cabinet confidences in the past when there are important investigations going on. Justin Trudeau needs to do the right thing and do that today. Oui, c'est clair que Justin Trudeau, c'est pas une surprise que Justin Trudeau a dit quelque chose qui n'était pas vrai, parce qu'il a dit les mensonges depuis le début de ce scandale. Il a regardé les Canadiens dans les yeux et elle a dit que Mme Wilson-Raybould n'a jamais pris ses inquiétudes à lui. Et on sait que ça c'est fausse. Il a dit qu'il n'a jamais mis la pression sur Mme Wilson-Raybould. On sait maintenant que ça c'est fausse. Il a le pouvoir de lever la confiance du cabinet. Les autres premiers ministres, les anciens premiers ministres, ont fait la même chose quand il y a des importantes enquêtes. Justin Trudeau doit faire la même chose aujourd'hui.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. There's party posters on university campuses suggesting that you're recruiting volunteers because you can only hear from left-wing professors so many times. Can you explain what you're actually saying you're going to do on university campuses? Is there going to be some kind of partisan test for university hires?
Oh, not at all. This is a campus poster meant to attract young people who are looking for a diversity of opinion and different points of view on campus as it relates to any number of issues. It's meant to attract people's attention. I know when I was running a campus club at the University of Ottawa, we used to have similar types of posters, you know, annoy your professor, join the Conservative Party campus club, that type of thing. It's a way to get people engaged on campus, and of course it's meant to be a launching pad for discussions and debate and hearing other points of view. Oui, c'est une message très simple. C'est pas une question d'ingérer dans le matériel dans la classe. C'est une mesure d'engager les étudiants et d'offrir les différents points de vue, les différentes perspectives sur les enjeux. Et on va continuer d'engager avec les étudiants dans toutes les universités partout au pays.
Good morning, Mr. Scheer. Olivia Stefanovic from CBC News. While there was outrage when the Liberals scrapped Harper's transit tax, or transit, what you're announcing today, the credit, there were also plenty of reports that showed it did nothing. In fact, one study found that a transit tax credit increases ridership about 0.25 and 1 percentage point. So I'm wondering why you think yours will do any different and why.
Well, first of all, this is an important measure to help make life more affordable. We know that monthly transit costs eat into the bottom line for families. It is a significant cost for people who depend on public transit to get to and from work or to and from school. This is an important measure that is going to save a family of 4 who regularly use the TTC across the GTA almost $1,000 a year. That's significant. That's all about making life more affordable. It is also going to make it more attractive to use public transit rather than taking someone's car. So if someone is, you know, right on the edge of deciding whether or not it would be more affordable to take public transit, this type of measure will help those people make those choices. And I just point you to the fact that the president of the TTC here did indicate when this popular tax credit was canceled that it would have a negative impact on ridership. So this, combined with other measures that we will be announcing about investments in public infrastructure, expanding capacity that we'll make later on in the campaign, I believe will have a very positive impact on ridership levels across the country.
Hello, sir. I have a follow-up question to something that one of my colleagues asked earlier. You mentioned that the candidate from Mississauga Streetsville running for your party has apologized for some of the past comments she's made. When did she do that?
I can point you to her statement, but she did issue public statements on that.
Okay, and another follow-up on that is, were you aware that the Ontario PC party had not greenlit her as a candidate given her past statements?
I'm not sure that is the case. All I can tell you is that Gada Malik has acknowledged that some of the comments that she had retweeted were insensitive, and that she has taken responsibility for that. I'm glad that she has. But I will point out 2 things. First of all, Justin Trudeau still has not condemned the anti-Semitic messages that his former candidate in Saint-Léonard, Saint-Michel made, and that party officials were conspiring to keep those anti-Semitic messages hidden. He has to explain why he would go to such great lengths to keep a candidate who was clearly spreading those types of messages. And if we want to talk about local candidates here in Mississauga Streetsville, we can talk about the fact that the Liberal Member of Parliament in this riding was making fun of middle-class Canadians, making fun of people who will benefit from this very type of announcement here today. So I'm happy to stack up the record of our candidates across the country with those of the Liberal Party.
Morning, Mr. Scheer. Steve Cornell from the Mississauga News. I have a question about, climate, generally speaking, your climate plan. Both Mississauga and Brampton have declared a climate emergency at the municipal level. And I know that municipalities have, in the past, have relied on, funding from a price on carbon and carbon tax to afford projects to help with their climate goals. Can you explain how canceling the climate or the carbon tax will kind of help municipalities get ahead to achieve their own climate goals?
Well, of course, we will be making further announcements later on in the campaign about investments in things like public transit, increasing capacity. So our government, the Conservative government, under my leadership, will be there to support those types of projects that also, in addition to reducing emissions, increase the quality of life for people in Mississauga and Brampton. I know that spending time commuting back and forth is a huge impact on the quality of life for families. Many parents miss out on many hours in the evenings if they're stuck in traffic. So we will be making announcements later on about how we'll address that. This announcement here today is about making those monthly costs for public transit more affordable. And I will point out that the carbon tax raises the cost for municipalities. That much of the funds that they may be receiving out of some of the federal government initiatives are meant to offset the higher costs that they incur when they purchase the fuel for the very buses that are behind me. So it's quite clear that not only will municipalities be better off without a carbon tax, but individuals and families will be better off as well.
Glenn McGregor, CTV News. Mr. Scheer, last night at the debate, you said that Indigenous groups were holding hostage energy projects. That comment has generated a lot of negative response. And I'm wondering, in the light of day today, if you think you could have phrased that differently, chosen different words?
Well, at the end of the day, it's very frustrating to see Indigenous communities who know that partnering with natural resource projects are the only way to give young people on reserve hope and opportunity. And when you see those First Nations communities so frustrated that those projects are not able to proceed because a small group of people or other Indigenous communities are holding up those projects, I sense that frustration. I share that frustration. And so what I said last night was about how we need to have a system that allows people to have their views heard, that their concerns can be addressed, but that at the end of the day, if those concerns can be addressed, that projects are able to succeed. That is the only way for Indigenous communities living in rural and remote parts of Canada will be able to have the same types of hope and opportunity that other Canadians have all across this country. Oui. Je peux sentir la frustration de beaucoup des groupes d'Autochtones et les Premières Nations qui veulent avoir les bénéfices des grands projets des ressources naturelles. Et c'est tellement difficile de voir les grands projets qui vont donner l'espoir et l'opportunité à les jeunes Autochtones bloqués par les autres groupes et les autres communautés qui ne veulent pas. Et la chose que j'ai dit hier soir, c'est que le gouvernement conservateur, sous mon leadership, va créer un système qui peut adresser les inquiétudes, les besoins des communautés, les Premières Nations, mais en même temps, quand on a réglé les inquiétudes, on peut avoir les projets de commencer et de réussir. C'est la seule façon que les jeunes autochtones peuvent avoir l'hope et l'espoir dans les régions rurales partout au Canada. Thanks very much, everyone. Thanks.